I was able to teach them to do what I did, and they started making money, and I started getting addicted to watching other people win. So I come out the garage, I looking at my girl at the time, I'm like, I got an idea. She was like, what? I'm like, I'm finna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna name it Roof Hustlers, and we're gonna take over the roofing industry. And she looked at me like I was crazy. You don't gotta be good to win at it. Like, you can suck and still make money in the roofing industry. But are you a good dad? Are you a better man? Do you grow?
Hey there, and welcome to From the Ground Up Show, the show where we encourage and inspire the next generation of free-thinking leaders by telling the stories of those that have been there, done that, and are still getting it done, building a life that they love with their hearts, their hands, and their hustle. I am your host, Erick Loden. If you guys could do me a favor, pause the show right now, send this episode to a friend that might enjoy it. Leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're on. And if you haven't already, make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, share on all the social media platforms, your favorite podcast platform, and on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out yet, head over to shop.fromthegroundupshow.com. We've got a cool little merch store, all the regular things, and a few unique items that are kind of fun. So make sure you check that out. Today, I am pretty excited. I am joined by Deshaun Bryant. Dashaun is one of the most recognizable personalities in roofing sales training. He is the founder of Roof Hustlers, a sales coaching and consulting company focused heavily on door-to-door roofing sales, mindset, communication, objection handling, and insurance restoration sales. He built his reputation first as a high-producing roofing salesman and later as a trainer traveling around the country coaching roofing companies. And Dashaun brings an incredible amount of experience. I think it's going to be a great conversation. Even if you're not in sales or not in the roofing industry, he's got some wonderful nuggets of wisdom to share with us today, and I'm excited for the conversations. Dashaun, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I think it's always an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be on somebody's podcast, to cross-pollinate networks, because, it's a big responsibility, somebody putting you in front of their community. So I'm always honored to be here. And like I said, all business is show business, man. So I'm excited to show up and bring some value.
Awesome. Well, we'll dive right in. We like to start every show going clear back to the beginning and just learning a little bit about you and your foundation and somebody that has been as successful as you. Where do you come from? What was childhood like for you?
Oh, man. So born and raised in Manatee County, Florida, which is pretty much Bradenton, Florida, 941. Grew up in a single-parent home. My mom raised 4 kids. My mom's, my uncles, my grandma, I grew up around that close-knit family. Used to see my dad every now and then, every other weekend, but I grew up in the hood. I wouldn't call it the projects. I wouldn't call it the ghetto, but it was the hood, right? And just like everybody in my generation, I'm 35. We grew up outside, grew up playing sports. My whole mindset growing up was I was going to be a football player, going to make it in football. I used to play football my entire life up until freshman year of college, where I ended up flunking out. But, growing up, that's what it was all about. It was about being outside, being in the neighborhood, playing throw 'em up, bust 'em up. We used to play marbles. We used to play manhunt. And that was the whole goal, growing up and becoming a football player. And I loved music. I loved music my entire life. I actually rapped for a vast majority of my life, from 8 years old up until about 25, 26. Actually, we made a mixtape last year. So I still make music. Roof Hustlers, our brand. We created our own intro. We've done music videos to showcase our talent within door-to-door sales and just letting people know you can bring all aspects of who you are to your profession. So whole ordeal was to go up, play football, and make it to the NFL. That was the dream. And then around 10 or 11 years old, I went to a performing arts school. And actually, that's when I kind of fell in love with performing. I used to do acting. I used to do ballroom dancing, monologues, all of that type of stuff. So that's my first taste of performing. And that's when I kind of fell in love with the stage, in the sense of I want to play sports, but I love being up in front of people. I've always been an extrovert my entire life. So I've always loved getting in front of crowds and performing. When I was 10, 11 years old, I used to do battle raps in the lunchroom where we used to do beats on the trash can. And I was the guy that used to freestyle, and we was making mixtapes at like 13, 14 years old, 15 years old. So yeah, football was the dream, football and music. And if you told me as a kid I would be selling roofs as an adult, I would have told you was lying, right? And yeah, made it out of high school, went to college up in Massachusetts. And I actually flunked out because I wasn't prepared to be self-governed. I wasn't really ready to be my own boss, to be my own disciplinary. And I went to college for one reason, just to get away from my mama. I just wanted to get away from authority. You know what I mean? I didn't want nobody telling me what to do no more. And I actually flunked out of college and came back home, and I just got to work, just started working. And ended up in this roofing stuff like around the age of 25. But from 18 to 25, I was just all retail, as far as like working in grocery stores, working at the mall. You know, just my mind was very closed. I didn't even think about sales, man. That never even crossed my mind growing up.
Okay. Are you tired of the customer service provided by big box stores and national brands? When I need materials or if I have questions about an order, I pick up the phone and call Josh. No waiting in line, no customer service hotline, no wondering who I'm going to talk to that day. I call Josh anytime, day or night. He answers my questions and takes care of me. That's the kind of service you get from MacArthur Company. A dedicated salesman, a local office, small town service from a company big enough to take care of even the largest customer. MacArthur Co. And you mentioned that you started out in college mostly to get away from your mom.
Yep.
But that you flunked out, dropped out of college. Now, a little bit older, looking back, what are your views about education? Is a college education necessary, helpful, a waste of time? What are your thoughts there?
I think it depends on what you're going to college for, as far as like, if you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be, you know, just those very intricate careers where you need a college education. Because I don't want my doctor to learn from YouTube, right? Like, I want him to go to medical school, get an MD. But do I think college is necessary for you to succeed in this new world that we live in? No. Do I think college is valuable? Yes. Why? Because you ain't gonna meet a Mark Zuckerberg on the corner, man. Like, you gotta go to college to meet people like that, to meet the Mark Zuckerbergs and, you know, those people that actually go to college and you build networks. And I still got some friends that I know from college that we still got really strong networks that I met through college. So I think one of the biggest valuable things of going to college is the relationships and the people that you meet. But do I think you need it to succeed in today's world? No, but I'm not that guy that's like college is a scam. I think long as you're intentional with why you're going to school is very valuable. But if you're just going to learn the basics like math, English, history, stuff, nah, I don't think you need college for those things.
I appreciate that. That's not far off of my viewpoint as well. So, well, you said you were about 25 when you got started in roofing, that was not what you imagined when you were younger. So what did that look like? How did you get into the roofing industry?
So I've always been a people person. I've always had the ability to talk to anybody, and I've always wanted to be the best at what I did. So I used to be a bagger at Publix, and I was the best bagger in the company. Like, I was the best bagger, point blank period. Like, if you came through my line with $300 worth of groceries, it was all going in the same cart, right? You didn't need two carts. I was going to bag the shit out of them groceries, right? So like 25 years old, my best friend and his really good friend, we just was going out to a bar, just hanging out. And I'm just talking to everybody because I'm a social butterfly. Like, I'm not that guy that go out and stand in the corner. I'm that guy, like, if we go to a club, I'll be like, I'll be back. And I'm just finna go, like, meander through the entire club, like, just end up frolic somewhere. So I'm just talking to random people. And the dude named Brian, he saw me just, you know, bouncing from group to group, talking. And at the end of the night, you know, we wrapping up the night, and he come up to me and he's like, hey, listen, man, I know I don't know you like that. He's like, but I got a job I think you'll be great at. Because he was building a sales team. And he's like, I got a job I think you'd be great at. And I said, I'm down. I didn't even ask him what it was. I just knew where I was working at. It wasn't giving me what I wanted financially. Yeah. And I was like, I'm down. We had a kid on the way. We didn't want to do daycare. And we didn't know how we could create a schedule that allowed our kids not to go to daycare, but still, you know, be present with them. So he told me it was door-to-door sales. That was like in November. I didn't get a car until like I think February of the next year, going into 2025. So this is 2024. I met him. So going into February 2025, I ended up getting the vehicle. And I called him back. I'm like, hey, man, I know you said you had a job I think I'd be great at. I'm like, I'm down. Like, I got a vehicle now. And they called me in for the makeshift interview because it's roofing. And pretty much it's like, do you breathe? Do you got legs? Yeah. Can you learn the script? Yeah. We got a job I think you'll be great at. So they brought me in, gave me the script, told me to learn it. And that first week I got into roofing sales. I ended up closing 4 deals my first week. And I realized I was either home or this was too easy. And I realized I was home.
Oh, man. Wow, that's quite the beginning. And so I'm guessing there was a few steps between that first sales job and starting Roof Hustler. Can you help connect the dots? What were some major points in your career there?
So one of the major points was the guy that hired me, which is Brian. He told me the first day he brought me in for the interview, he was like, "You gonna be my trainer?" And I'm like, "No, not me, man." I'm like, "Nah, I'm just trying to sell and mind my business, bro. Like this is my first day trainer. Like, no." And probably about 8 months into the game, he started forcing me to train people. He didn't give me an option. He would hire new people and he'd be like, "Take them in the field, go teach them what you know." And I'm like, "I don't know nothing. Like, I don't know what you want me to teach them." But I would take them in the field and I was able to coach them. I was able to teach them to do what I did. And they started making money. And I started getting addicted to watching other people win. So like without a title, he just made me the trainer. So every time we would hire new people, he would put them under my wing. He would send me out in the field and I would train them. And then next thing you know, he built the canvassing team and he like, "You're responsible for the canvassing team." So everybody we hire, I'm coaching them. I'm training them. I'm training the other reps. I'm training the canvassers. So this is about 2 years into the game and I'm just training, coaching, and we winning. But this is all just pure talent. Like, this is just pure talent. This is no coaching, no training. This is just me reverse engineering the things that I would do in the field and teach it to other people. Like I wrote out my, just a quick little expectations and standards, just what I lived by. And probably like 2 years into the game, I'm knocking doors. And I knock on this dude's door and I sell him. And he's like, "Man, you really good." He's like, "Who your coaches? Who your mentors?" I'm like, "Nobody, man. This guy giving talent." He's like, "Do me a huge favor, man. Go look up this guy named Grant Cardone." And I'm like, "All right." And this Grant like 9 years ago. So I go home, look him up, and I'm watching his videos. And where I come from, I've never seen nobody speaking like that. You don't got a money problem. You got an income problem. Like, if you ever care about the price of a book, you'll never get wealthy. Like, every industry got a gap in it. Look for the gap. Stop. So he says something. Every industry got a gap in it. If you can close the gap, you'll make a lot of money. And then I just got the biggest aha moment of my life. I was like, I can't be the only guy that got took out for 2 days. And they say, "All right, man, you got it. Go on your own." I'm like, that got to be an industry standard. So clear as day, I'm a firm believer that visions come vertical, right? I think God gave everybody a vision and he needs you to manifest that vision. And if you don't manifest it, he got to give it to somebody else. Why? Because he need that creation in the world. Like, he's telling you, I need that in this world. So clear as day, I heard the words like somebody literally was speaking in my ear. It said, "Start a YouTube channel, name it Roof Hustlers. You'll take over the roofing industry." Like, I heard it clear as day. So I come out the garage. I look at my girl at the time. I'm like, "I got an idea." She's like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm finna start a YouTube channel. I'm gonna name it Roof Hustlers and we're going to take over the roofing industry." And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I remember going into the office, my sales manager, Brian, the guy that brought me in, I'm like, "Bro, I got this idea." He's like, "What's the idea?" I'm like, "I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to name it Roof Hustlers and we're going to take over the roofing industry." And he even looked at me like, "All right, if you say so." And just went back to doing his work. So I just went home that night and I'm like, "I'm finna do this thing." And I thought of the idea on a Tuesday. I recorded my first video on Thursday. And we created the Instagram, we created the YouTube channel, and we just got to work. I was actually one of the first people on Instagram that was talking about roofing because I couldn't find it when I was getting started. So we would just be out there knocking doors. I just pick my phone up and I would just have little epiphanies. I'd just be like, "Man, when you're in the neighborhood, blah, 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 blah." And after that Grant Cardone video, I started reading books. I started going to seminars. I started going to conferences. And that was the momentum swing that created all of this stuff. And I remember I called that homeowner and I said, "Hey, man, I just want to call and say thank you." He was like, "For what?" I'm like, "Because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have like pursued this information." Because after I found Grant, that's when I made my first 10 grand in a month. And after that, it was on fire ever since.
Oh, man. So how has Roof Hustlers developed from just a YouTube channel and Instagram posts to the business that you have today?
Yeah, so we started putting out videos in 2017, and I remember when I was just praying for 100 people to watch my video. I'm just like, man, I can't wait till we get to 100 people. Like, oh my gosh. And then we grew to 100, and we grew to 2, grew to 3. So 2017, we just putting out content, just consistent. Because I made a commitment the day I started Roof Hustles. Like, it don't matter how long it take for us to like get momentum. I'm willing to just work on it every single day. And we would put out content every single week, 2 to 3 posts a week. And then we kept building momentum. First roofing company paid me to come talk to their sales guys in 2018. So a company in Orlando hit me up. Just like, hey man, one of our sales guys keep raving about your videos. We was wondering, could you come up and just, speak to the team? At that time, Eric, I ain't have nothing. I'm like, of course, I'd love to come speak to the team. And I ain't have nothing. All I had was like my 11 door-to-door roof commandments, and that's it. And I went up there, spoke to them. They paid me like $300 in gift cards, and I was excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's starting to work. And we just kept putting out content, consistent. Next thing you know, I started getting DMs. People started hitting me up. So we started building momentum. Certain roofing companies would reach out. And then first company that ever hit me up called American Roofing, based out of Tennessee. They hit me up in 2020. They was like, hey man, our guys love your videos. We just wondering, do you come out and do in-person training? I'm like, yeah, I can do it. And I charged them $3,000, which is laughable now. But I charged them $3,000. I came out there for a full weekend, and that was my first training in February of 2020. So I started in 2017. I didn't really get booked for a full weekend training until 2020. After that one training, it just caught crazy momentum. I ended up training 10 companies in 2020. I came back in 2021. We trained 30 companies. We came back in 2022. We trained about 35, 40 companies. In 2022, I landed a deal with GAF, which is one of our big shingle manufacturers. They paid me to fly around the country. I did all of their big EVS events, which stands for Expert Value Speaker. So I was one of their first speakers that did every regional event his first year, because that's how highly requested I was. And ever since 2022, man, it's just been on a trajectory just out the roof. I spoke at my first RoofCon at 2020. I did every major speaking event. I've been asked to speak at one since then. I did my first keynote at RoofCon 2024. I opened up the entire event. I did the first keynote, and I spoke at every major event: RoofCon, DoDoDoCon, SRC Summit. I do trainings for supply companies, manufacturers. I've trained Atlas, the entire Atlas shingle manufacturing and sales team. And from that first year in 2020, it's been on fire ever since. Just putting out consistent content and growing and learning from some of the best in the industry, and then coming back and teaching that to all of the sales reps.
That's awesome. I love the entrepreneurial spirit in that story, that somebody calls and asks for something you've never done before, and the answer is yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do it, or I don't know what it's going to look like, but if you're going to pay me, the answer is yes.
Let's do it. I had nothing prepared. For the first training I ever did, I had nothing prepared. Just went out there, talked to them for an hour, and we knocked doors every day for like 7 hours. And now we got a way better structured training program. When we come out and train people, we got an online academy now. Like, we got so much more structure, and like we've built something that allows people to come here to facilitate the growth. But in the beginning, it was just getting out there and figuring it out as we go.
If you work hard or train hard, you know the frustration of cleaning sweat out of your clothes. Most detergents just don't cut it. They don't actually remove the sweat, especially from synthetic fibers. Instead, they just mask the smell with strong fragrances. You are left with flowery smelling, stiff clothes that start to stink immediately as soon as you sweat even a little bit. The sweat wasn't really removed, it is just covered up until it gets wet. End the frustration with Athlete Fresh, a detergent designed specifically to get sweat and grime from all fabrics, including your favorite synthetics. It gets deep, breaks down the bacteria and sweat enzymes, and rinses clear. No residue, no stiff clothes, no fragrance, and no stink. Bring new life to your favorite work clothes or athletic gear. Athlete Fresh will actually clean up the residue other detergents leave behind. Athlete Fresh is environmentally friendly, and 5% of every purchase goes to charity. Check them out at athletefresh.shop/fromthegroundupshow. Act fast, as they currently have a sale, 25% off your first order. Again, that was athletefresh.shop/fromthegroundupshow. Well, I know, you didn't do much for a formal college education. You mentioned that you're an extrovert. You have a lot of just kind of natural people skill and talent in that arena. But moving into speaking professionally at gigs that size, did you do anything to develop your speaking skills and your presentation skills, or is that something that just came pretty natural to you?
It came pretty natural, but also, like I said, I went to a performing arts school as a kid. So I've been speaking in front of crowds since I've been 10 years old.
Yeah.
So, I did monologues in front of a crowd of like 300 people when I was 11 years old. Like I said, I used to rap battle. When I was in college, we was making music. The last dance of the year, I got to get up and perform in front of the whole college. Like we did a whole performance in front of the whole college. So speaking in front of people was easy. The part that I had to learn to develop was structures and systems and processes. I'm just a natural performer. Like I just know how to get up on stage and do my thing. Like I can improvise at the highest levels, but I'm way more structured now. We know how to put together talking engagements and things like that. But I never did no preparation. Now I have attended a lot of events. I paid for a lot of training. I read at least 2 books a month for the last 9 years. So since we started creating Roof Hustlers, I read at least 2 books a month. I go to at least 3 to 4 conferences a year. I've paid for numerous coaching and training programs, from Coach Michael Burt to Eric Thomas to Myron Golden I've learned from some of the best in the industry. So I've been around a lot of great people where I've learned how to speak and I've been coached on speaking. But naturally, yeah, it just came to me. But I also paid to polish these skills up.
And so are you still doing any sales kind of yourself for an income driver, or are you 100% on Roof Hustler now?
We're 100% on Roof Hustlers. So we do about 40 trainings a year where we fly around the country, coach and train sales teams. I'm also a national sales coach and trainer for a company that I came on board for this year. We have our own online academy. I'm also a mentor in another coaching academy. My boy Adam Bensman, I'm a mentor in his academy. And I'm just always coaching, training, mentoring people. But the reason I stopped selling was because about 2022, I closed the deal and I'm in the house selling the homeowner. And they're like, we're so excited to work with you. And I'm like, I'm excited to work with you too. Like, I feel you. And they're like, no, we know who you are. And I'm like, what you talking about? And then the homeowners flip her phone around and she's showing me all my YouTube videos and like all of my clips on Instagram. And that probably was the last time I sold somebody, because it's very difficult to sell, $500,000 to plus $1 million worth of roof while you're on the road coaching and training. And then you got installations and you can't be there. Yeah. So I just wanted to protect my reputation. So I stopped selling intentionally in 2022. And we've been full-time Roof Hustlers, coaching and training, mentoring since 2022 and beyond.
Okay. Was that a scary jump to make? Was it tough to kind of give up the income from a successful sales career, or was that an easy transition?
I was terrified. Actually, I had a lot of internal conflict. The thing I battled was I built my brand around selling, right? So the reason why people followed me is because I was giving out insight, I was giving out perspective, giving out strategies, tactics, principles, but I was also still closing deals. So the sales reps loved that, like, I was in the game. They was like, man, we love that. Yeah, you put out videos, but you closing deals like us. And I had an internal conflict of, how do I still keep the integrity of the brand when I don't sell roofs anymore? Yeah. And one of my coaches said, how do you show other people how to elevate if you don't elevate yourself? Like, how do you show people, like, yeah, you can go be a coach and trainer, but you still got to sell roofs to make it work? And I was like, man, you right. And I'm just a firm believer that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? If you chase 2 chickens, you catch none, right? Chase 2 rabbits, you catch none. So I realized it's this book called Essentialism. And the non-essentialist, he put 25% of his effort in every single direction, and he think he's moving the needle. But the essentialist just focus on one thing, and he give that one thing 100%. And he can really move that needle in the direction that he wanted to go. So I was like, you know what? Worst case scenario, if it don't work, I know how to sell. Like, I can always go back and just sell roofs.
Yeah.
And we went all in on it. And by the graces of God, my calendar has been filled up every year from 2021 and beyond.
That's awesome. Good for you. What was the most difficult step in building Roof Hustler?
I think the most difficult step in building Roof Hustlers for myself was learning to, quote unquote, run a business. And when I say run a business, I don't like everybody say they run a business. I don't necessarily technically have a business. I got a high paying job. Why? Because my business don't run without me. Like, I am the business. People want Dashaun to come out, coach and train their sales team. But the part that I had to develop was business acumen, business principles, meaning as developing contracts, asking people for $20,000. It's not easy. Everybody thinks it's easy to just tell somebody it's $20,000 to come and train you for the weekend and everybody gonna be excited. So it took me a while to develop business acumen, half up front, half when I'm done, developing the contracts, the questionnaires, the follow-up strategies, doing coaching calls after you do the trainings, because I'm just such an energetic person. I just want to come in, get your people geeked up, rah, and then I leave. And then one of my coaches was like, what's your follow-up? I'm like, follow-up? They're like, yeah, what you do once you come in and train them? How do you keep them producing? I'm like, I didn't even think about that. So we had to create all of these systems and processes. So that was the most difficult part, because I'm not a very detail-oriented person. So when you're not detail-oriented, it's very difficult to come up with those systems and processes. So that was probably the most difficult part for me, the actual business acumen, right? Like those system-driven and process-driven things that allow you to thrive. Because once you get me in the building, it's game time. But it was just developing all of those things. But other than that, everything else is pretty easy.
Well, that maybe runs right into my next question. What is your favorite aspect of your job, and what is your least favorite aspect?
My favorite aspect of my job has to be coming into an environment, humbling a group of egotistical salesmen, because these guys be making 150, 200, 300 grand a year, 600 grand a year, and they use money as a scoreboard. So how do you get a guy that makes over $300,000 a year to look at you and be like, yeah, show me, coach me, right? So my favorite part is coming in and breaking them down and building them back up and showing them that it's levels to the game, right? Money isn't the ultimate deciding factor that shows if you're actually killing the game, because in the roofing industry, you don't got to be good to win at it. Like, you can suck and still make money in the roofing industry. But are you a good dad? Are you a better man? Do you grow? Have you been in the roofing industry for 20 years or have you been growing for 20 years? And a lot of people aren't growing, they're just existing. So coming in and showing people that there's a new level to it, that's probably the most exciting part. Because when I leave, a lot of these grown men on day one that's kind of hesitant, reluctant. On day three, they're like, do you got to leave? Like, man, we love you being here. Like, we everything you've brought out of us, like, we're excited about that. So helping people tap into that next level, probably my favorite part. The part that I enjoy the least would probably be all of the email that come after me doing the trading. I know it sounds silly, but it's like, I got to send all of the documents. I got to send all of the PDFs. I got to set up like all the detailed stuff. I just despise it, man. It's not an excuse not to be good at it, but that's probably the part I enjoy the least.
Yeah, I can get that. It sounds like you provide a lot more than just sales training, kind of a comprehensive training to level up, to become that better man. I mean, when someone hires you for a training, what can they expect to get? What kind of change can they expect out of their salespeople? And where does the inspiration come for those things that you add outside of just tactical sales?
Well, I just learned early in the game that in order to help somebody get better at sales, you don't actually help them get better at sales, which sounds counterintuitive. It's like, what you mean you don't help them get better at sales, get better at sales? You help them become a better person. You help them become a better man, right? You help them develop better habits, better thought process, more discipline, more integrity. Show them what it's like to have principles in their life. Show them what it's like to develop your self-talk. Like, all of these internal drivers that once you spend more time working on the man, your sales will naturally improve. You don't work on sales and then improve. No. So I learned that early in the game, because a lot of my mentors, they're not necessarily salespeople. They're personal development people. And I learned that my sales went through the roof when I started working on the inside, like taking care of the inside, the inner work, right? Developing better habits, developing a better thought process. Like, I'm a certified mental performance coach because I learned that the better you can control your mind, the better you can control your success, the better you can control your life. So yeah, we teach sales tactics, strategies, and principles, but the ultimate goal is we want to help you become the best version of yourself, because in our industry and in life in general, God gave us 3 simple instructions when he first created this universe. He said, be fruitful, have dominion, and then multiply. So to be, to do, and to have. The problem with most industries, they just do so they can have, but nobody becomes, right? So we are human beings, not human doings. And everybody focus so much on doing things so they can have the things that they want. But if you don't become the better version of you, you will do these things, you will have these things, and then you will destroy these things because you haven't become the person that you need to become to sustain the success that you are after. So I learned that once I started getting coaching from my principals, from my coaches, I'm like, wow, okay. The ultimate goal in life is about becoming the best version of you, right? And everybody say that, right? Become the best version of you, but nobody does it.
Yeah.
So we get people out their comfort zone to start becoming the best version of you. So what does it look like when I come out and train? Day one, we come through and we dismantle the mindset. We challenge people. We tell people the reason why you don't go to that next level is because you're immature. Most salespeople are very immature. So now I got grown men in the room like, dang, am I immature? Yes, you are, right? So we challenge their maturity. And then the first thing we do is we develop the mindset. We give them 8 to 10 key principles, what we call the epitome of a hustler, which is once you change the way you think, you'll change the way you live, right? So we develop the mindset on day one. I also come out, I do one-on-ones with every single sales rep. So I sit down with every sales rep individually, like what we're doing. I make them fill out an evaluation sheet. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Areas I need to improve, new skills I want to develop. And we sit down and we unpack everything. We give them strategies, tactics to overcome weaknesses and the things that they want to improve. We do office training where we actually teach the skill sets. And then after we're done with office training, we actually go in the field. I go in the field and knock doors with the sales team. You can show them how to implement the skill sets that we just taught them. And then after a full weekend of training, I sit down with the leadership team and I show them all the gaps in the game, what they can do to start leading the sales team better, what this sales guy need individually, what this sales guy need, who got the potential to be a leader, who need to be fired, like all of these little insightful things. I know it sounds crazy, Eric, but I'm like, why you got this guy here? Like, what's the purpose of this man? So we do a very holistic training to when I'm done. It's not about motivation. We create a transformation. We don't motivate, we activate people.
Good stuff. Well, a lot of what you said there reminded me of one of my favorite quotes. It's hanging above my desk. It says, is your charisma taking you places that your character can't keep you? So you talked a lot about kind of the comprehensive training, becoming a better salesman by becoming a better man. I know you dove into this industry relatively young, 25. I know you mentioned a lot of mentors, but how did you develop this process? Where did that incredible wisdom come from about developing a better man? Is that something that you kind of intuitively learned, or did that come from somewhere?
Well, I grew up without my pops, right? So my dad wasn't really in my life like that. And then he died when I was 14. So my entire life, I've been trying to figure out what it is to be a man. Like, I was raised by women, so I don't care what nobody say. No woman can teach you how to become a man, right? She can teach you how to treat a woman, but she can't teach you how to become a man. So I always had like a natural pull of like, what does it look like to be a better dad, a better, boyfriend, all of those good things. So I just started seeking men who already embodied those things that I wanted to become. Right. So Eric Thomas, one of my favorite mentors, he's been married for 35 plus years, no adultery, was homeless, got a PhD. He's a pastor. He's very like God driven. So he was one of my coaches, Coach Michael Burt, which was phenomenal coach. He believes in the 7 highly effective habits of, by Stephen Covey, which is you work on the mind, the body, and the spirit. Another one of my coaches, Myron Golden, everything he teaches biblical principles. So I started learning. I'm like, man, the most successful people that I look up to, they all principle driven, and they principles is what guides their behavior to becoming better men. They're not very emotional. So I always say, people ask me all the time, how do you find mentors? I say, the mentors you're looking for should be based off the season of the life that you're in. So if you're trying to develop sales, you want to go find a good sales coach. If you're trying to become a better man, go follow somebody that got good principles, good standards, good morals, right? If you're trying to get your finances in order, maybe you should find somebody that's good with money. So just the men that I looked up to, one thing I never noticed about them, the biggest thing I noticed about them was they wasn't talking about money in the sense of like, I make $1 million a year and this and that. They was like, I'm present with my kids. I've never cheated on my wife. You know, I'm governed by biblical principles. Everything is about being a better person, showing up in life. So that's what really inspired me to want to become this better man. And I just noticed as we started coaching and training more people, they was already making money. Like that wasn't the issue. They was already making money. It's just they wasn't investing into themselves. They wasn't doing any inner work to have a better life.
Good stuff. A lot of wisdom there. I know a lot of people are pretty intimidated by sales. That's a scary thing for them. Why is that? Why are most people afraid of sales?
And this is just my opinion. First and foremost, I think the biggest reason people are afraid of sales, I think the number one thing is rejection. I think a lot of people minimize rejection, but it don't feel good talking to 30 people a day and they all telling you no. Right? Like, I don't care who you are. You need a certain level of like internal confidence to know that they're not telling you no. They're just saying no. Like it has nothing to do with you. And most of us work professions where you don't deal with that much rejection, bro. When you work at a grocery store, people are excited to come to the grocery store and buy groceries. You work at a restaurant, they came there to eat food, serve me at a high level, right? If you're a fitness instructor, people coming to you to, get in shape. But us, we going to complete strangers, knocking on your door and trying to persuade you about a product that you might know you need, but you don't want to spend that type of money on.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for people to get told no all the time. So I think rejection is one of them. I think the second reason why people are afraid of sales is I don't think people enjoy routine that much. I don't think people enjoy systematic ways of thinking. I think most people enjoy doing what they want to do. Oh man, I don't need nobody telling me what to do. I want to do what I want to do. And in order for you to be good at sales, phenomenal at sales, you need a systematic way of thinking. You got to be okay with being put in a box to outgrow the box to do phenomenal things. AKA, you need a script, you need a system, you need processes, you need, certain things that you do with every single person. And you got to become obsessed with mundane, tedious, task. And I don't think people enjoy that, man. People like doing whatever they want to do. And I think them the two things I think that really hold people back from sales: rejection and then systematic ways of thinking, like doing a routine every day to get the same results.
That's really interesting. I've heard a lot of salesmen that I've talked to is that the thing they love about sales is that it's not necessarily routine. They get a lot of diversity. They get to be out in the field and kind of do what they want. But you're saying that the most successful ones, you get a diversity of clients, of environment. You're out in the field doing your thing, but you need to have routine systems in place to be as successful as possible.
1000%. I like to use, everybody loves sports, but you think of any good song, any good athlete, it don't matter what it is. Steph Curry shoot the ball the same way every time. He never change up his shot. The diversity is you get to play different people every game, so you get to use different skills on people, but to make that three-pointer shot, it's the same mechanics. And when in sales, it's the same mechanics to get to the same results. You might be dealing with different personalities. The day might be diverse. You never know what you're going to get, right? You can go out there. One day it's a phenomenal day. The next day you're dealing with crazy people every day. But that systematic ways of thinking, that routine, that beginning, middle, end, those asking those buy-in questions, those walking people through the process all the time, that thing never changes. And I tell people, if you say something different in every single sales scenario, you're probably not winning at a high level.
Man, there's a lot of wisdom there. If you guys are listening on 2x speed, you need to slow this down and listen to that again. So I know you just talked a lot about, rejection, hearing no. I know one of the talks you give, something you talk about a lot is the art of no. Why is learning to be comfortable hearing no so valuable, and how do people do that?
Well, first and foremost, we as salespeople, we will avoid difficult conversations, so we don't got to hear the things that we really need to hear or want to hear. And no is one of them. Who wants to meet a girl, right? And 3 days talking to her, you ask her the most difficult questions possible, and it don't align with where you see your life going, and you say, you know what, you gorgeous, love. This just don't make sense though for us to keep talking. Let's just end this right now. Nobody wants to do that. They will play that game for 6 to 8 months, knowing there's no alignment, knowing that they're not going in the same direction, but they're like, maybe I can change their mind. So they will waste 8 months of their life trying to date somebody or trying to become with some, like, get together with somebody, and eventually everybody just say, I just don't think we going in the same direction. So it took them a year to get to the no that they could have got to the no in 3 weeks, right? It's the same thing with sales. If we are to kill the deal, let's get to the no early. So let's just talk about those uncomfortable things. What is your budget? Our minimal level of engagement is our average homeowner spends anywhere between $2,500 to $5,000. If we're just talking about people going through the insurance, right? If you sell a retail roof, our average client spend anywhere between $12,000 to $20,000. Is that within your price range? If they like, nah, you know what? We might not be a good fit. Hey, you stay blessed. Let's move on. Like, let's get to the no as soon as possible before we expend any unnecessary resources. And sales reps would rather lie to themselves and be like, no, I got this one. He thinking about it. No, this guy, he like in the process. This dude told me like, yeah, he want to buy, but like because it feels better to lie to yourself and make you feel like you got something that's keeping you busy, right? When in reality, you just say, you know what? They're not a good fit. I'm going to go find 5 new clients. I'm going to go pursue 10 new clients. So let's get to the no early. I don't like to waste my time. And I used to be extremely nice. My first year in sales was the nice guy finished last. That is like a universal principle. I always tell people, Eric, you know why the friend zone exists? Like with men and women? Because it's men stupid enough to live in it. That's why the friend zone exists, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with sales. You would rather live in limbo than to just get a definite answer. So we teach our sales reps, man, let's get to the no early, bro. Ask them as many uncomfortable questions as you can on the front end. And if it makes sense, cool. If not, cool. Let's not waste our time.
I would imagine that probably actually increases your success in sales, because a lot of customers probably appreciate that. Nobody likes the long-winded sales pitch. Nobody likes the person that keeps bugging them after they've tried to say no nicely a few times. So somebody that can just get out front and say, hey, is this a fit or not? And if it's not, I'm going to leave you alone. You probably close more deals with that approach than the long way around. Is that accurate?
Then trying to be the nice guy, you definitely save yourself some time. Now, is there some homeowners that need time to think about it? Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah. But even with them, let's give them the opportunity to tell us no. Hey, so Mr. Eric, we already talked about the good, the benefits, how I can serve you, if the numbers make sense, and we've talked about worst case scenario, blah, 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 blah. Then you just set up a definite day. Hey, I'm going to follow up with you on Wednesday, Mr. Eric, man. You just let me know yes or no whether this makes sense for us to move forward. And you give them the freedom to say no. Because I've learned through studying and falling in love with human nature and just sales and everything, 88% of humans are non-confrontational. The word no falls under the level of confrontation. Like, people don't like that word no because they feel like it's going to come with pushback or it's going to come with, that's like if you like, Dashaun, man, you should come to my party on Saturday. Instead of saying, thank you so much for inviting me, Eric, but no, I can't make it. I already got prior obligations. People would rather say this, oh, man, yeah, let me see if I can make it.
Yep.
No, let me see what I can do. And then the day of the party, they want to be like, oh, man, something came up. Sorry, I couldn't make it. You knew you couldn't make it the day he asked you to come.
Yeah.
But instead of just being direct and having these, very candid conversations, people would rather beat around the bush. And that's why people struggle with sales.
Well, as much as you can have those uncomfortable conversations and get to that no early, part of sales is helping people overcome barriers and being a little bit persuasive. What are the most common mistakes that people make when trying to persuade someone?
Oh, they're bad listeners. That's first mistake. They're bad listeners. And what do I mean by that? Most sales reps think the more you know, right? And then the more you share, they'll buy. But I believe in the opposite. I need my homeowner to talk more than I talk. How do I do that? By asking them great questions. And then after I ask them a great question, I should just listen. Just shut up and listen. Because information changes situations. So if I can't get the information out of my homeowners, how can I close them? And at the end of the day, it's my responsibility to get my homeowners to feel good about buying. It's not my job to necessarily convince them. And I'm glad you used the word persuade, not convince, right? So it is my responsibility to persuade my homeowners to want to buy. But first thing, I got to get them feeling good about buying. How do you get people to feel good about buying? You get them to talk about themselves, or you get them to talk about what it is that they're after, right? What it is that they want. So I think most sales reps struggle because they spend more time talking than they do listening. And the second thing that I feel like a lot of sales reps struggle with is it's simple. Obviously it's sales, but most people don't want to ask for the sale. Like they hope if they spend enough time with that person, they'll be like, let's do this. And it don't work like that way. You got to listen, ask really good questions, and then ask those buy-in questions. What would stop us from doing business today? If I'm able to get the price where you need it to be, like, do you believe we the company that can execute on the things that we said we'll do? Yes. Do you like me? Yes. Is there any reason why we couldn't do business today? No, I like everything that I'm hearing right now. Also, like just those buy-in questions and just being a good listener and then asking them, do they want to buy? My first year, Eric, man, I sit in the house with somebody for an hour and a half hoping they say yes. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, if they like me, I like them. They want to do this. And if I ask them for the business, they won't like me no more. So I'm just going to wait till they want to do it. And I just learned that a lot of people are bad listeners because they figure they got more information. The more they share, the more people will want to buy. But actually, the more information you give people, the more they got to think about it. The more they got to think about it, it delays the buying process. And then just asking them for the sale, baby. But I learned this years ago. One of my coaches taught me, the main reason why people do anything in their life, in life in general, is just because they feel like it.
Yeah.
So it's my responsibility to get my homeowner to feel like buying.
Yeah. I know I always looked at it as rather than selling something, we're here to solve someone's problems. And so you have to listen to hear what their problems are and then decide whether that's in your capacity or not to solve it. Because I made a personal rule a few years ago that I don't buy any products that solve a problem I didn't know I had before the salesman called. Like, if I have a problem, I will go find the solution, and I don't mind spending money to solve it. But if I didn't have a problem before you told me about it, that's not a problem I need to spend money to solve. So if you're not listening,
Amen.
You're not hearing what their problem is, and you can't solve it.
And ignorance is truly bliss, right? So what we do in roofing sales, that's what we do. We do exactly what you said. We'll give you a free inspection, and now we done found a problem you didn't even know you had. You had a hole in the roof. You got damage on the roof. You got leaks coming in because this off a fresh door knock, right? So it's my responsibility to provide the information to make my homeowners want to solve their own problem. It's not my responsibility to try to solve that problem, right? I look at it like this. I've never met somebody with a flat tire, Eric, that I had to convince them to change it.
Yeah. Good stuff.
You know, somebody with a flat tire, they say, help me. Man, I need you to help me change this tire.
Yeah.
So once we identify the problems, it's my responsibility to educate my homeowners about that issue that I found to the point they look at me and say, well, what I need to do next?
Yep.
And then they want to solve their own problem, which means they feel like doing this. And it makes sales 10 times easier when people want to solve their own problem.
Oh, man. Well, I know you've trained now thousands of salesmen. You are kind of the name in sales training, at least in the roofing industry. In your experience, what separates successful salesmen from unsuccessful? Can you tell when you started training which ones are going to really do well and which ones aren't?
Oh, yeah. It's pretty evident. And it's basic stuff, but I've learned, man, it's the basics that's hard to do. Like, everybody want to do the fancy stuff. The basics is the most difficult thing to master. So the few signs that show me somebody going to be a successful salesperson, first and foremost, they're extremely humble, which means they're good, but they looking for inches. Like they looking for inches. I'll go train a sales company and it'd be the top guy that's like, I'm so excited to sit down with you, Dashaun. I'm so excited you're here. Man, I'm trying to get better. And it'd be a guy in the middle of the pack that's like, man, why they brought him out here? Man, what we need training for? So the ability to be coached, because the best in the world, they all got coaches. Chris Brown got a dance coach. Beyonce got a vocal coach. Tom Brady, he won 6 Super Bowls. He still had a coach. So the guys that's eager to get coached, they usually outperform everybody else. So that's one thing I noticed. They're coachable, humble, right? The second thing I've learned is typically the best reps that I run into, they have a hunger for learning, which means they don't live on their heel of wisdom, right? They don't be like, well, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that. They actually more excited to figure out the things that they don't know. Mm-hmm. And most sales reps, I meet a lot of guys, man, I've been doing this 10 years, man. I've been doing this 12 years, 13 years. And I'm like, yeah, but you're in the same spot, dog. Like, you still sell. Why you ain't elevated to a GM or something? You know what I'm saying? Like, why haven't you expanded yet? And it's because of some things that you don't know. So another thing I see is the reps that's eager to learn. They always learning. They always chasing knowledge, reading books, going to events, going to conference, going to seminars. Because our industry, the roofing industry, unfortunately, is one of the most, it's so weird, man. Because our industry is the only industry where people talk bad about conferences and getting training and getting coached. But I've never met an athlete who performs at the highest levels on his own.
Yeah.
You know, but sales reps in our industry, they just so arrogant about it. So the people that enjoy like continuously learning, the people that are coachable. And third one, I just say the people who possess a lot of acquiesce. And what is acquiesce? To reluctantly accept the thing without protest. Which means anytime you get some high coaching in your life, most people going to ask you to do things that's counterintuitive to how you would do it. And some of the best sales reps I've met, they'll be like, I wouldn't do it that way, but I'm going to trust you. And they'll do it. And then they'll get results. And they'll be like, dang, I never thought about doing it that way. And that's how you add new tools to your tool belt, right?
Yeah.
To do something that you normally wouldn't do, but I'm going to try it anyways. And boom, now you're getting results that you haven't experienced before. So to break it all back down, they coachable, right? They humble. They possess a certain level of humility. They're always eager to learn. Like they never sitting on, they know everything. They like, okay, it's always another level to go to. And they're willing to do things that they normally wouldn't do. That's uncomfortable, but they know how to help them grow.
Well, Dashaun, I know you said that you kind of came naturally to sales. You have quite a bit of natural charisma. You're a people person. You like to talk. For someone that isn't that, do you think that work ethic can overcome a lack of natural charisma in sales, or do you need that raw talent?
No, I think you could put in the work to get better at this. I've seen guys do it numerous times. I've seen some of the most introverted people learn how to put on a show. They've learned how to, like, they'll almost go into the field and become a completely different person just for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
And then when the day over, they go right back in their shell. Like, they just right back to being quiet. But it's a constant pursuit of improvement. So me, I was naturally a people person, right? So it was easy to talk to people. The difficult thing I had to learn how to do, Eric, was close people. I couldn't close in the beginning. Like, people either did business with me because they really liked me, but I had no closing techniques. I wasn't bold. I wasn't firm. Man, I used to run from uncomfortable conversations, all of those things. So I was a natural people person. I wasn't a natural firm person. So I developed those skill sets over the years, being more firm, being more direct, like improving my grammar and improving my vocabulary. Those things I had to work on. So I do think an introverted person can be phenomenal at sales because it's about having the awareness to be like, okay, this is what I'm naturally good at. What comes difficult to me? Okay, these things come difficult. Okay, how do I dedicate time to work on these skills? Instead of relying on my strengths too much, how do I, improve some of my quote unquote undeveloped skills? I don't want to call them weaknesses, but maybe those skills are undeveloped yet. So how do you develop those skills? So I've seen a lot of guys that aren't people that outsell the people.
Okay. So you mentioned that you learned some new vocabulary, some new language techniques to increase your closing ability. What were some of those things you discovered? What are the differences in language between people that close and people that don't?
I believe people who close are more assertive. I think people that don't close a lot are very passive.
Okay.
So, for example, when I was my first few years, I would never ask people if they actually wanted to move forward. It was just like, hey, it's just a free inspection, man. If we find damage, we can show you how to help. But in reality, you don't got to do nothing, man. It's just a free inspection. So we would do a lot of free inspections. Then I'd come back and they'd be like, well, we decided we don't want to do anything, but we appreciate the inspection. And I was like, I'm tired of wasting my time. So what we did was something I developed and I learned was So before we do inspection, we would say, hey, if there is damage, you would want to take that next step to move forward, right? If we did find any issues, you would want to take care of them before they got worse, correct? Just asking those firm, direct questions, boom, sales numbers started going up. Following up with people that say they want to think about it instead of saying, okay, just let me know when you're ready. Because that's me. I'm not forceful. At my core, I'm not a forceful person. Hey, just let me know when you're ready, man. No big deal. I realized I had a pipeline full of people that want to think about it. So I'm like, okay, how do we start getting them to the finish line? Hey, you already got all the information. What's really stopping you from moving forward? Because there's really nothing else left to think about. We just need to make a decision. So what do we do? What do we need to do to make you feel comfortable moving forward? And those were things that I couldn't do because in my mind, that was being too pushy. That was being overly aggressive. And nobody like pushy salespeople, blah, blah, blah. And I just realized like, no, you're not being pushy, man. You're the facilitator. And as a respectful facilitator, it's your responsibility to help people make decisions.
Man, well, I know there's a lot of people kind of freaking out right now. There's a lot of changes coming with AI and automation of a lot of sales processes. Do you think sales is becoming easier or harder in this new industrial revolution, the tech revolution here?
I love it, honestly. Like, it's almost like, I don't know if you play Halo growing up? You
Probably
play Halo?
not for 25 years, but
yeah, I know, right? But you remember the first Halo that came out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I look at it now, it's like you Master Chief, and then you got the little computer that be telling you everything you need to know. Like, she do all the extensive, detailed work. She map out the map. She tell you what type of enemies in there. She tell you how to best pursue the best plan of action, the best way to go in there and kill everybody. And you're like, thank you. Boom. Now, they done eliminated 80% of your thinking. Now you can just spend your 20% on the thing that you phenomenal at, which is stepping in the house, closing the deal, making money. So I love the way AI is showing up. If I can get an automatic response so I don't got to text people back, love it, right? If I can have it set up to do follow-ups for me, I love it, right? If you can call my office and I can't answer the phone, but I got an AI agent that can answer that phone and set up an appointment for the next 2 days while I was asleep, I love it. Now, I think it's an enhancement. I don't think it's a replacement. Now, people that's like relying strictly on AI, your business, I don't think it's going to thrive at the level that it should because I don't believe high tech will ever replace high touch. Like, I don't think that'll ever happen. It's like, what we going to do in the future? You going to interview an AI on your podcast, bro? Like,
there are people doing that right now, but it's not something I want to listen to.
Exactly, right? It's like, so I do think it's so many benefits of AI. I think it's a beautiful learning curve. I think it can close people gaps faster. I see a lot of value in it. I mean, the way we use ChatGPT to like help us in roofing sales, man, we could be like, hey, give us a list of 10 areas that got hit with 1.5 storm within the last 6 months. They'll cook it all up. Brrr. They'll be like, do you want to know the income median? Yes. Brrr. Which area got the most homeowners in it? Brrr. Like, they'll give you all of these details. Now you're just that much more efficient, but you can't go make it knock a dough for you. You can't make it go, I just think in the future, I think humans will get tired of AI.
Yeah.
And they'll just want to go back to talking to people. It's just like a group of people out here that they're tired of iPhones. And they're like, I'm going back to a flip phone, bro. Like, I don't want to, like, because it's too distracting. So they're like, I want to go back to just using my phone at what it's for.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good enhancement for what we're doing. I think it's beautiful. I support it. I used to be against it. I'm like, man, I don't got no time for ChatGPT. I like studying. And now I'm like, I like studying a little bit more efficient.
Good stuff. Is there a lesson that you wish you would have learned earlier?
Yeah. I probably would say the lesson that I wish I learned earlier when I first got started in sales was the better you are at having uncomfortable conversations, the more money you'll make and the less tension you'll have in your life. Right? Because I've just learned all of the stress that comes from salespeople or just humans in general, right? Is usually coming from things out of your control. So you're stressed about things that's not in your control. Or it's things that in your control that you avoid. And when I was young in the game, I avoided any uncomfortable conversation, man. Like I didn't want to do that stuff that made my stomach hurt. And you know what I'm talking about. Like it's just certain things you step into a conversation, you like, oh, I know this gonna suck, man. And you go in there, and then it don't be as bad as you thought it was. So I wish at a younger age, at 25, even younger than that, learn how to have uncomfortable conversations, because every uncomfortable conversation doesn't have to be conflict. It don't have to be an argument. It's just like, hey, let's just talk about this very uncomfortable thing. Let's get it out the way. Because I've learned the more you like run from it, the bigger it gets. So now I just like to have uncomfortable conversations on the front end. Let's just get it out the way, whatever it may be, no matter who it is. I don't text people. I don't have uncomfortable conversations through text. You either call me or to me it ain't real.
Yeah. I listened to another podcaster that liked to say conflict deferred is conflict magnified.
Yeah. It's bigger than it need to be, so let's just deal with it early.
Yeah. Is there an opinion you once held strongly that you've changed your mind about based on your experiences?
Oh, so many. I guess say one of the biggest things I've changed my mind about was money, right? And I learned a few years ago, those who can't talk about it don't make it. And I grew up in a household where we didn't talk about money. I never knew how much money my mama made. You ask somebody how much money they make, they say that's none of your business. And that was normal for me. So once I started getting around people that made money, I've noticed how comfortable they was talking about money, how comfortable they are asking for money. So I was always taught money don't grow on trees, all these like silly things. And then I'm like, ain't money made out of paper? It's made out of paper. Last time I checked, we need trees to make paper. So clearly it must grow on trees, right? So it's just a lot of little simple beliefs that I never thought about. And I tell people the worst way you can go through life is not questioning your beliefs. So I used to be that person that didn't like to talk about money. I avoided asking homeowners like their budgets or any of those things because it was uncomfortable for me. And now I've learned this poor business acumen to be in any business environment and you don't talk about money. So that was one that I've outgrew. So I talk to my kids about money. My kids know when I leave in the house, I'm making thousands of dollars. Like I give them money. We talk about money and I want them to always be comfortable. I tell my kids, ask me for money if you want it. I might tell you no, but keep asking. I might change my mind.
Oh, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. If you could go back to 25 and had the opportunity to do it again, is there anything you would do differently?
Yeah, for sure. The first thing I would do differently, I would start reading way earlier. I wouldn't have waited 2 years to start reading books and going to conferences and going to events. I would have become more disciplined earlier. I wasn't used to freedom. I came from a regular job, man. Like, when somebody tell you all you gotta do is knock doors 4 hours a day and they not breathing down your back and they like just go do what you want to do and just, report back your results. I used to go chill with my homies for 2 hours, then go knock doors for 2 hours and say I worked for 4 hours. So like I wasn't really disciplined in the beginning. So I would go back, read books, educate myself earlier. I would get more disciplined, create a very strict schedule, stick to it, put in the work. And I guess say the last thing I would do differently from the beginning is I would have started studying success sooner. I didn't really study success. I treated it like a job. I was just like an employee when I first started. I didn't really take ownership of what I was doing. I was just doing my job. So I would go back and take ownership early and understand that, okay, you're a 1099 sales rep. This is your business. Start treating it like it's yours and not the company's business. And don't get me wrong, I still turned out good from the way that I started, but I would have did that earlier.
Okay. What mistake did you make that cost you the most money?
That's a good question. What mistake did I make that cost me the most money? It'd probably be something that we already kind of talked about, which was I didn't have enough uncomfortable conversations in the beginning when I was dealing with homeowners. I've had a few people in the beginning when I first got started. I would help people get approved. They'll take their checks and they will go do like something completely different than what we discussed. Like they would take their money and go on vacation. They would take their money and, pay for something they deem more important. And I would be sitting there like, I thought you was a good person. Yeah. So like I thought, so I would say I would go back and I wouldn't have trust people so ignorantly.
Mm.
I used to trust everybody. I know they said they gonna do it, and I would just take people for their word. Now, like 11 years into the game, everybody who knows me know I love all my homeowners. I don't trust none of them. I don't trust now one. I treat them all like criminals.
I appreciate that attitude, and yeah, I think anybody that's been in probably any business for a length of time feels similarly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they be trying to make it seem like we the crooks.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they make it like they reluctant of us. Like, well, I don't feel comfortable paying you or blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't feel comfortable with you getting the check. That's what I
yeah.
don't feel comfortable with. You know? But nobody don't want to talk about that stuff because homeowners just as shady as contractors.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know? And contractors just take the hit. But homeowners, man, they so shisty. So I wouldn't have trust people as much as I did.
Okay. Well, I know you talk about reading a lot of books. You've read 2 books a month for 9 years. You go to a lot of conferences. You've had some personal mentors, maybe some more virtual mentors, people that you follow and watch. What has been your best resource to grow and develop?
Oh, my best resource to grow and develop, period, reading books. Yeah, I think reading trumps everything. Don't get me wrong, conferences is nice, mentorship is phenomenal, programs, academies, like little, if you could pay for like somebody's Patreon and get around those people that have done high level stuff. But the two, I would say reading books, because reading books do a lot of things. First of all, it improves your comprehension, your ability to understand things. It also gives you 20 years of somebody's life in like 150 pages. So you can come out here and try to figure out things on your own, or you can go learn from somebody that's already did it, implement it, get results. So reading book changed my life in ways I didn't even know was possible, man. Like after I read the 10X rule, I made my first 10 grand. It's taught me how to study better. It taught me how to, it improved my memory, my retention. But I read a little bit different than most people. I'll read a book, and when I read a book, let's say if I read 2 chapters, I'll close the book and I'll just find a blank page like in my notebook, and I'll recollect everything I remember. Just write it all down just to keep the retention good. Then once I write down everything that I remember, I'll go teach it to somebody. Even if I haven't fully mastered it yet, I'll go teach it even immaturely. And that helps me retain the information better. But reading is my number one go-to. Warren Buffett spent the first 6 hours of his day reading books. Because there's so many gaps in this world. And they say if you want to hide something from somebody, put it in a book.
I think that's becoming more and more true with modern generations.
And now people like to fight me on this one, Eric. They'd be like, but I listen to audiobooks. Is it the same thing? No, not at all. And they say, well, why not? I say, okay, well, what's the last audiobook you listened to? They'll tell me. I'll be like, well, tell me what you learned. And they'll be like, well, exactly. Like, you're not even dialed into the audiobook. Because let's just be honest, right? If we had to be very practical. If you're listening to an audiobook, what you most likely doing?
Something else.
Driving, right? Most people driving, right? Now, if you're driving, most of the humans I know don't just drive. So you probably, you know what I'm saying? You're probably on your phone. You doing something. So yeah, the book is playing, but you're not really paying attention to the book. Then you got to go rewind it. When I read a book, I can't do nothing but read. I can't talk to you right now and read a book and listen to you. Like, it don't work like that. So reading has changed the game for me in ways that I can't even describe. It's improved my focus. It's improved my mental stamina. Like, it's just so many benefits that come from reading books. And then the second thing I would say is mentorship. Yeah, paying somebody. You got to pay to play, man. You can't learn, excuse my language, but you can't learn nothing off YouTube, bro. Like, you can, but that's the free stuff. You grow by paying to get around somebody and they sit down and have conversations with you. Like you doing podcasts, bro. You learn things from people that you can't get off YouTube.
Yeah. All the time,
like
every week.
All the time. It's so many benefits to the podcast. First benefit is, yeah, you building a community. You influencing people. You helping other people grow. The number one benefit of the podcast is you get to get around people that did amazing stuff. They get to teach you things, and you're like, "Oh, that's good. I keep that for myself too. Oh, I keep that for myself too." So you get around people who typically got to pay thousands of dollars to get an hour of this person's time. You get it for free, and you get extremely valuable information.
Yeah.
And nobody don't want to pay for that. Everybody want to be like, "Man, you should fix, man. You don't need these guys to teach you that." Okay, well, tell that to the guys that done paid to get around other high-level millionaires, learn one thing, come home, and change their entire business.
Man, good stuff. You're just full of wisdom today. So, what advice would you have for someone that wants to do what you've done?
And when you say do what I've done, you mean roofing sales, or do you mean like
Yes.
starting your own endeavor?
Let's go starting your own endeavor. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of your niche. It's in roofing, but the information, the tactics, the risk that you've taken is common to a lot of industries. It wouldn't have to be roofing, I don't think, for you to be successful.
No, I don't.
So
it's just roofing, like you said, that's just our niche. That's just the vehicle that we've chose to impact. I always tell people roofing just my congregation. You know what I mean? Like I
like that.
Yeah, that's just my congregation. Them are the people I preach to. But if I was to give somebody advice on starting what I want to start, first and foremost, trust your gut. So whatever it is you want to do, go do it. Don't go run it by a bunch of people. Don't go run it by 5 people and be like, "Hey man, I got this idea. What you think? Hey, I got this idea. What you think?" No, just go do it. Because when I started Roof Hustlers, my kids' mom was like, "I don't like that name." And if I'd have listened to her, I would have changed the name. But Roof Hustlers is like, if you ask me, it's one of the best names in the roofing industry. Why? It don't got nothing to do with Dashaun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody else brand got their name in it. This and that. Roof Hustlers. It speaks to the community. What do? We be hustling. What we sell? Roofs, bro. We roof hustling. You know? So whatever your idea is, trust it. Second thing is give out value. Value. Free value. Give out free stuff. Why? Because the way God created this universe, you reap what you sow. There's no such thing as putting out something and getting nothing in return. Now, you might not get it when you want it, but it's going to come in due time. So don't run your idea by nobody. Just you got an idea, trust the process, go. Boom. Second thing I would say, find a way to bring value to the marketplace. You got to give before you get, right? Give out free information, education, some form of fashion that people can take, practical stuff that they can take, go implement, get results. Third thing I would say is build a brand. Yeah, build a business, but build a brand. People buy brands before they buy products. People buy brands before they before they buy your business, right? So people buy brands. So Roof Hustlers is a brand. Dashaun is the brand, right? People love me, but they love the brand of Roof Hustlers and what it represents and who he is. And I think most people try to start a business or start an endeavor, but they don't build a brand. And what is your brand? Your brand is what people say about you when you're not present. That's your brand, right? Marketing is what you want to tell people about yourself. So marketing is what you tell people about you. Branding is what people say about you to other people. So what is your brand? It matters. Do you got a brand that's not on time? Do you got a brand that's inconsistent? You got a brand of cursing. You got a brand of being aggressive. Like, be mindful of that. Everything you do, you're creating a brand. And then one thing I would say is start where you at. If you at ground one, kick it with ground one people, level one people. Don't try to start something and go to somebody that's been doing something for 20 years and be like, "Hey man, can you promote my stuff? Can you do?" No. Go to a ground level guy, other people, and then work your way up. I feel like a lot of people don't respect the next level because they so focused on the top level.
Yeah.
And sometimes all you need is that next level, right? Like my camera guy, I didn't go find the most expensive camera guy when I got started. I met my camera guy because we was working out together. I'm like, "What you do?" He's like, "I shoot videos." I'm like, "That's crazy. I do videos." I'm like, "Man, I need somebody to film me." He was like, "Really? I love to film." Boom. That's how I met my cameraman. Now we done been doing business together for 6.5 years.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of value to those relationships where when you're both hungry and you can both help each other and that relationship is mutually beneficial, Sometimes those relationships, the business that comes out of that relationship grows a lot better when you're both hungry and you're both at the same level than when one of you's hungry and the other one's already successful.
They don't. I feel like they don't. I feel like you're just a number then.
Yeah, you're just another client. You're the next guy, and a lot of the times you're the little guy. They got big clients. They've got really successful people they work with. They've got their personal relationships already dialed in, and you're just the extra that they threw in because you were willing to pay.
You look at LeBron. He picked his best friend to be his manager. He picked Rich Paul to be his manager. Now Rich Paul, one of the most well-known sports agents ever. He ain't never managed a person in his life. LeBron was the first person he ever did it for. So even LeBron being at the level that he was, he didn't go find a level 10 manager. He found a person that was right there with him, bro. We both getting into the NBA. We don't know what we getting into. Let's go kill the game together. Right? So those are just some things. Also, and then the last thing. So first and foremost, don't run your idea by too many people, right? Trust your gut. So I build that brand, right? And then most importantly, the last thing I would say, get a customer before you get an LLC.
That's good. Yeah, I see stuff.
All the time.
Everybody's all online. I had this great idea. I registered an LLC. What do I do next? Like, man, you don't need to worry about the LLC till you have some movement. Like,
we did 10 trainings.
You can
10 trainings before we started Roof Hustle.
You can operate as a sole proprietor for a long time. You can get the business going before you start worrying about everything else. So
you could be an independent contractor.
Yep.
Like just a 1099. You go into sales companies, they just write you a 1099. You was just temp work or whatever you want to call it. But like you said, I know people that be like, I got an idea, I got the name, I got the logo. Here go the LLC. I'm like, how many customers you got? They're like, none. I'm like, man. So we trained 10 companies before we even created Roof Hustles LLC. Only reason I created the LLC because I sat down with some tax people. They was like, you need to create an LLC now. Like you're making money. You need to figure that out. So I was the opposite, man. I made money first, and then we went back and did all the business stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. So if you had to go back and start from scratch, no roof hustlers, you're just a sales guy, what would you do? Would you stick with roofing? Would you do something different?
Oh, no. If I can go back, start from scratch, no roof hustles, no nothing. Like at 20 years old, I'd have got into sales, and I definitely would have sold roofs, hands down. Yeah, because it's a high ticket commission. You can make anywhere between $2,000 to $5,000, $2,000 to $6,000 per roof. It's a business that's a need. Everybody need a roof. Every year a new market is opening up. So what do I mean by that? It's 2026. Now we can go back and knock doors that's built in 2008 because they're getting 15 years old, 17 years old now. So it's a constant opening of new markets every year. Everybody needs a roof. And it's the one thing that I tell everybody, if you're going to sell anything, don't sell commodities, sell needs. Sell things people need. People don't need solar. Solar is a commodity. People don't need pest control. It's a commodity. People don't need alarms. They should get them, but they don't need them because it's a commodity. If you live in a really nice neighborhood where you can leave your garage up, why would you buy a security system? You know? But everybody need a roof. Point blank period.
Good stuff.
You know what I'm saying? They might run from it, but they're going to need one eventually.
Like you said earlier, it's that thing that nobody wants to buy, though. I always said for my second career, I'm going to sell a commodity. I want to sell speedboats or four-wheelers because nobody has ever written me a check and been excited about it.
Never. You know what I'm saying? Because like you're right. Nobody ain't bought that jet ski and they like, they write you that check for that jet ski. They're like, woo, I can't wait to take this on the water.
Yeah.
They write you that check for that roof. They be like,
yep. They're never having a good day.
It's a drag every time, you know, but hey, I just improved your property value and I just gave you peace for 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. There's real value in it. There's dignity in it, but nobody's ever excited to do it. So
never.
You mentioned that the best resource you had to grow and develop was a book. When can we expect a book authored by Deshaun Bryant?
That's actually something we get into the finish line this year. It's called The Virtues of the Hustler, which is the 10 virtues you need to embody just to be able to do anything at a high level or just sales, just life in general. I'm a very spiritual person. I don't got no church home, but I believe in a lot of biblical principles and I love virtues and I love, I like Greek philosophy. I love Eastern philosophy, period, right? Yeah, because we Western philosophy. So I love Eastern philosophy, period. So I try to operate out of principles the vast majority of my life. So I try to teach the men that I train, like, man, try to eliminate your emotions from certain scenarios, like systems, formulas, principles, and feelings. I believe those are 4 things that run our universe: systems, formulas, principles, and feelings. And I try to teach men to operate out of their systems, their formulas, and their principles. Be aware of your feelings, but don't let them make decisions for you. So we're creating the virtues of the hustler, which is if you embody these virtues, it'll lead you to success. So that's what we're working on this year, man. I got to get it finished. I literally, no lie, Eric, it is 90% done. It's just I got to finish one more chapter, then I got to send it out to get edited and all that good stuff. So,
okay. And if someone wants to engage your services or engage with some of the free resources that you have available, what's the best way to find you and get a hold of you?
Oh, we easy to find. Anywhere you see the bow tie, you'll see this guy. For y'all who don't know, I wear a bow tie every day. I go out and knock doors. I've been doing it since my second day of sales. I've been wearing a bow tie every day. And
why is that? I feel like there's got to be a story behind that. Why is
Believe
that?
it or not, it ain't no deep story. So what happened was we used to make music. We did a music video where we all dressed formal. And I wore a bow tie to the music video. And my baby mama, she was like, "You look good in a bow tie." I'm like, "You think so?" She's like, "Yeah." So then I get into sales like 2 months after that. First day, we go out knocking doors, no bow tie. And the dude that was training me, like, we ended the day, and I was like, "I got this bow tie at home, man. I think I'm going to wear it tomorrow." And he was like, "You should." I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to try it." So that next day I come out, I wore a bow tie, and the reactions was priceless. Like, I mean, everybody loved it. Everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, I love your bow tie. Like, you look so good in the bow tie." And I was like, this my differentiator. How do I help myself stand out from other door-to-door sales reps? Just look good while you're doing it, right? And it's hard for people to forget me because if I knock on somebody's door and they be like, "You already been here," and I be like, "You remember the bow tie?" They be like, "No." I be like, "Well, we've never met. Pleasure to meet you, Dashaun." And like I go to my pitch, and it's almost like an alter ego. Once I put the bow tie on, it's game time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it came about. Just taking risks, man. I've always been the guy that I'm a very rebellious soul. I hate doing what everybody else do. Like I see on social media, people doing trends, I refuse to do them.
Oh, yeah. I think that's probably true for a lot of entrepreneurs. We like to be creative. We like to do our own thing, our own way. We don't like to fit the mold and do what everybody else is doing. So,
yeah.
But then, as you talked about earlier, there's the value to being, disciplined with your system, your process, and being in that box. So I think there's a balance there.
It is. It's like Lil Wayne, and then I tell everybody where they can find me at. A lot of people get mad at Lil Wayne because he don't listen to other rappers. And he'll meet a new rapper, and they be like, "You don't know who I am?" And he'd be like, "No." And they'll get offended. And he'd be like, "I don't listen to rap music. Like, I don't listen to new up-and-coming rappers because I don't want to be influenced by them. I always want my sound to sound original." So I was the same way. I never watched nobody in roofing. I've never watched a roofing sales trainer. All of my training came from outside of the roofing industry. And then I would bring it back to the roofing industry and teach them the principles that I learned. So that's why I train and coach so different than everybody else in the roofing industry, because I've never learned from nobody in the roofing industry.
Yeah. But, and so, I mean, for the people you're training, how do you avoid that same pitfall for the people that you're training?
In what way?
Well, I mean, now you're the guy giving the training in the roofing industry. How do you keep them from just kind of parroting what you're doing and having that influence? How do they make it their own and be original and kind of own it?
Well, one thing we don't teach is we don't teach charisma. We don't teach personality. We tell everybody, be yourself. Like, you learn these tactics, learn these strategies, learn these principles, but learn them within the wheelhouse of you. So if you're a very detailed, introverted person, I'm never going to tell you to like get out of that box and be more extroverted. I say, how do you just become the best introverted version of you? Like, how do you step into your authenticity? Because that's all I did. I was just being myself every day. I wasn't trying to be nobody else but the best version of Dashaun. So I teach sales reps. When we go out and knock doors, so one thing I say, Eric, I'd be like, "What's up, lovely lady? How you doing today? Boss man, what's cracking, baby?" Right? And then I watch a sales rep be like, "Hey, lovely lady," I be like, "Don't say that again. Don't ever say that again, bro." Like he'd be like, "Why you say it?" I say because I say it in my everyday life.
Yeah.
Like that's my everyday language. That's not something I say because I'm selling people, right? That's how I like sales reps would be like, "Man, how you get away with calling women's girls?" Because I'd be like, "Oh, girl, don't even worry about it." Like I'm like, because that's how I normally talk to people. So I don't want you to focus on trying to be me. Be you. However you talk to people in your regular life, bring that to sales, right? Be your most authentic self, but then just add the strategies, the tactics, and the principles to who you are, and then it'll enhance it. But don't try to be nobody else because you only know how to be one person, which is you. The worst thing you can do is try to be somebody else. It's too much work.
Well, back to the question there before we got sidelined.
Yeah.
I'll put the link to Roof Hustlers in the show notes. Are there other places that people can get a hold of you or engage with you?
Yep. Like we said, anyway, you see the bow tie, you'll see this guy. You can find us on Instagram at Roof Hustlers, TikTok at Roof Hustlers. I don't use it that much, but we're there. YouTube, Roof Hustlers. Facebook is Deshaun Bryant, and that's Dashaun. Because for some reason everybody want to spell it with an E. I don't know why. But anyways, Deshaun Bryant, and anywhere you see Roof Hustlers, you'll see me. You see the bow tie, you see this guy. Shoot us a DM, say what's up. I saw you on the From the Ground Up podcast, and I respond to 95% of my DMs, unless you one of those marketing people. But everybody else, I respond to 95% of my DMs because I love the people. Without y'all, this wouldn't be possible, and the brand wouldn't be growing the way that it's growing. So we love and appreciate y'all immensely.
Good stuff. And I know you focus primarily in roofing, but it sounds like, I mean, you just teach solid sales principles, solid sales tactics. Are you open to expanding the brand outside of roofing? If someone in another industry wants to engage your services, is that available?
Yeah, I've actually trained marketing companies. I've trained a marketing company before. I've trained an HVAC company. They call And Services. I taught them how to go door to door and generate business HVAC. I got a realtor lady that she saw me. My friend runs a networking group, and I trained in the networking group. And she's like, "Can you come speak to all of my realtors?" I got a homie who runs a football team, and I came and spoke to his football team as well. So we trying to, let me phrase this. We're going to expand outside of the roofing industry. That is the ultimate goal. But like I said, this is my congregation. I'll never leave them. But yeah, I'm open to any industry, baby. I'll come in and bring that heat, period.
Good stuff. Yeah, it sounds like the wisdom, the principles that you bring are pretty universal. It's not specific to roofing. And just going back to what you just said, you're not teaching someone how to sell a roof. You're teaching them how to sell, how to engage their own personality, their own character in a unique way to get people to make that decision they need to make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, this is my favorite question. You've kind of touched up against it a few different directions here, but are you a person of a particular faith tradition? And if so, how has that affected your career?
So I grew up in the church, not heavy, but my mom used to make me go to church. My dad was a deacon in the church. So I always grew up in the church. And I'm a heavy believer of God. I always say I do the sowing, he do the growing. I'm not that good. I'm the vessel. It's just my responsibility to deliver the message. But I have no specific religion that I believe in, like no Catholic, no nothing like that. But I do believe in the Word of God. I do a lot of Bible study, and I believe in majority of spiritual practices. So I'm heavily anchored in my faith. I'm a firm believer that, like, I don't live in doubt. I don't doubt me, and it ain't because I'm arrogant. It's just because if you read the Bible, the word doubt don't exist in it. Like, you can't even find the word doubt in the Bible, so I don't doubt myself. And they said you only need the faith of a mustard seed, right? But I got the faith of, like a peach seed, like a big one, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got a lot of faith that the man upstairs always going to make things happen. I trained over 175, almost 200 companies over the last 6 years. My first 4 years, I had no website. I've never paid for one marketing ad. Like, I've never done nothing. And I've booked my calendar every single year. So people ask me, like, how you done this stuff, Dashaun? I say, man, all I can do is I give all the glory to God. I give all the graces to God. And like I said, I do the sowing, he do the growing. And every day, I pray every day before I knock doors. Like, it's non-negotiable for me. Like, when we pull up in the neighborhood, I get the whole team together. We do a quick little prayer, and then we go knock doors every single day. So I'm just very heavily faith based, man. Humans too imperfect for me to experience the things I've experienced in my life.
Okay. Well, is there anybody that you'd like to see on this show? Somebody that has a cool business, a cool career, a cool story that you'd like to learn more about?
Adam Benjamin. Like, I know him, but it'd be dope to hear some of the questions that you asked me. It'd be dope to hear him answer some of those. Kenny Brooks, the funny salesman. It'd be nice to see him on here as well. I'm a big fan of him as well. A big supporter. I try not to be fans of people. I like to support people. I know it sounds silly, but it's like,
there's a distinction.
yeah, it's a distinction. Like, I ain't no fan of no man, really. Like, but I'm big supporters of people because we all human, man. But Adam Benjamin, my boy Kenny Brooks, the funny salesman, and let me think who else I follow. It's this girl named Low something. I don't know what she do. I don't know her name, but she do high ticket sales. And I found her on accident on Instagram. But she a light skinned girl, got really curly hair, and she does high ticket sales, and she make millions of dollars, and she just be at the crib. Like, she don't even travel, she don't do nothing, just high ticket sales. I think it would be dope to learn a little bit more about her as well.
Well, I might ask you to make a connection offline here to a few of those guys that you know, and see if we can't get them to come on and learn a little bit more about what they do. So
Yeah, I'm down.
awesome. Well, Dashaun, thank you so much for giving up the time to spend with us. You are just full of wisdom. As we discussed, I think the principles that you teach, the wisdom that you have is applicable far outside of roofing. Anybody that's in sales, anybody that interacts with humans can probably benefit from the principles, the wisdom that you have to share. So thank you so much for taking the time and sharing that with us.
Thank you for having me, man. It's an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure. Like I said, it's so much responsibility when somebody allows you to interact with their communities and their people. And like I said, I don't take it lightly in the beginning. So thank you so much for having me on here. Thank you for allowing me to be myself on here as well. And man, you keep doing what you're doing, man. You ask really good questions. You're a great podcaster, man. It's rare you meet a dude that runs a podcast and he don't spend a vast majority of his time talking about himself.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And thank you guys for joining us here on From the Ground Up Show. Again, take a moment, share this episode with a friend, leave us a 5-star review, leave us a comment. Make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe on social media, your favorite podcast platform, and on YouTube. And if you haven't done so yet, stop by shop.fromthegroundupshow.com. Check out some of the cool merchandise we have there. Until next time, keep grinding.